This unit will build your knowledge of road law and your knowledge of safe driving behaviours. Developing safe driver behaviours in learners will require you, the trainer, to be able to apply adult training principles, understanding, safe and flexible instructional methods that will meet the needs of your learners, and provide feedback for the safe operation of a vehicle by a learner driver. When instructing a learner driver, it is important to take into account a number of factors about the learner. The key point to remember is that not all people are the same, and thus not all learners are the same. It is quite likely that each learner you will teach will be different from the previous one. Some of the issues you may consider in developing your training for learner drivers are recognizing and dealing with behavioral barriers to learning, developing the vehicle control skills of the learner, interpreting and applying regulatory requirements and road law, identifying risks and hazards that assists the learner in becoming a safer driver, and above all, the training must be enjoyable for both the instructor and the trainee. It is also very important to ensure that you have the objectives of the training and the outcomes that you wish to achieve planned and recorded. One of the things to consider when delivering training is how to deliver it in an environment that is both safe and accessible. One of the first things to consider when delivering training is how to deliver it in an environment that is both safe and accessible. This means not only ensuring that training is conducted in as low risk an environment as possible and that the learner is supported and monitored at all times, but also that the training is delivered in such a way that it is adaptable and flexible enough to be understood and comprehended by people of diverse backgrounds. This may include people from all walks of life. Remember, not all learners are the same. Different people learn things in different ways, and it is important to recognise this. Generally, learning styles can be divided into 4 different types. These are auditory learning. This means the person learns best by hearing something explained to them. For example, in teaching a learner driver about giving way at an intersection, the learner would learn the rules of approaching and giving way to traffic best if you were to tell them about it first, rather than actually demonstrating it to them. Visual learning. This person learns best by seeing the information in front of them or watching a task actually being performed. For example, in teaching a visual learner how to parallel park, you would first demonstrate the task yourself, possibly even several times, with the learner watching your actions from both inside and outside the vehicle. Kinetic learning. This is where the person learns best by doing activities related to what they are being taught. Often, kinetic learners like to review information on the task that they are required to do in their own time, perhaps even reading it rather than listening to a lecture or talk. In developing safe driving behaviours in a kinetic learner, you would be greatly assisted by being able to provide them with a written summary of tasks that they are likely to undertake and strategies or steps that will assist them in doing this. While some learners may have one main type of learning style, most people have a combination of all of the above. Therefore, the best way to deliver training is by using a mix of the learning styles as a guide. It is also very important to ensure that you have all of the equipment required to deliver the training for the learner. This might mean developing a checklist by documenting all of the resources that you will require and then checking it off before each lesson. As a driving instructor, it is most likely that you will be working with people who no longer see themselves as school students, even if they actually are. And as such, they will have expectations about learning to drive. These expectations may include over or underrating their abilities as learner drivers, an expectation that the learning they undertake will be immediately useful to them, a need to relate or tie in new information they receive with information or opinions the learner already knows or has. One way of addressing the issues we have covered is to consider and tailor your teaching style to the preferred style of the learner driver. There is a simple 4-step process that you could use. 1. Making sure that your driving skills are on display for the entire lesson. 2. Teaching the learner the right way to perform a task. 3. Making sure that driving lessons are not delivered and prepared in the same way for everyone. 4. Making sure that each lesson is learner-centered and adjusting your assessment and teaching style to that of the learner. The safety of the learner and you, the instructor, must always come first. Remember that legal responsibility for what happens in a training vehicle with dual controls always rests with a licensed driver, and that means you. There are many risks and hazards out on the road. Some of them are simple, a person at a pedestrian crossing, while others can have multiple elements involved. 4 cars moving along a freeway with a 5th entering from a slip lane. As a driving instructor, you will have a variety of low-risk driving strategies